And now, streaming out of Northeast Ohio, representing marks, drunks, and a little bit of kayfabe, AIW Fan Club. It's wrestling and podcasting, previewing and reviewing all motherfucking day. People of the world, I give to you wrestling fucking cheers!
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when there ain't nothing to it. This is Wrestling Cheers. We like to talk about things going on in the Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a preview for this Friday's show from AIW, Gangsta Rap Made Me Do It. I'm your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by the Trending Topics Network and Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe your ever list of fine podcasts, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. And we have the merch store over at Nowhere, because we don't have one. Like I said, this is a preview for this Friday's Gangsta Rap Made Me Do It. I've already introduced myself, and this week we got Brock. Brock, how's it going?
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Unfortunately, you won't be here for this show.
No,
but
I will not.
You'll be in preparation for another show this weekend.
Yeah. It sucks that I have to miss the rap show because it's one of my favorites that happens every year. And, the last one that we had was in 2019, the infamous balcony spot. So, I don't know. I mean, the rap show always seems to be a little crazier because of the whole no rules thing, and I get a little bloodthirsty. So I'm a little upset that I'm going to be missing it, but I am going to be streaming it. But yeah, I'll be getting ready for Toy Hio on Saturday. So me and Kurt's going to be in the kitchen on Friday. I'm looking
forward to Toy Hio. I will not be spending as much money as I normally do. Not even really doing meet and greets. I know I want to buy a bendy off of Smart Mark, because they did the Major Wrestling Figure podcast did their first line of Bendums a handful of months ago, and I have everybody in that first line signed except for Smart Mark. So I need to buy it off of him, and I need it signed.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I would go. It's just a money thing, because obviously I love going there. Money's kind of tight right now, and it's like, well, I could pay, the $5 and go to the show, but I don't want to spend any money. So it's like, just not go at all. Then I got reminded that he's going to be there, and I was like, fuck. Because also on top of everything too, I want to do the Johnny Gargano signing at Time Capsule Toys the next day after that, because right. I'm going to get his first figure re-signed. I got it years ago signed, and it's in Sharpie. And thing is about Sharpie is, like, on figures, they can fade and everything. And also it's black, and on like that particular bubble, like, it doesn't really pop as well. Like where I'm at right now, like, you can barely tell that it's signed. So okay. I'm going to easily wipe that off for those who don't know. One thing that gets off Sharpie, which there's a handful of things, but my favorite thing is dry erase marker. Somehow takes it right off. So I'm probably doing that, and then I'm going to get that re-signed. I was debating on getting another one signed, but I might just stick with that one. But knowing that I was going to do that limited my funds for Toy Hio, but now we're coming. Probably have to get food too.
I mean, probably. you should probably come see me. And I guess for anybody that has been to Toy Hio in the past, where I'm typically set up at in the lobby. I will not be set up there. There's like a back room, like a back area that has a bar set up, and we're going to be set up back there. So it's going to be a little bit easier for us to run stuff because we actually kind of have like more of a proper setup for selling food. At that space back there, but just kind of a heads up for people that are coming. We are going to be in a different area than what we normally are set up at.
Oh, that means you can't hang out with Pam and Stacy all day.
Yeah, that part does kind of suck because I do randomly. I will like walk over and talk to Stacy while he's over at that table, and so yeah, it's going to suck not being able to do that. Pam, I think, is helping out with the meet and greets, so I don't think she would really be over there anyways. But yeah. But at least Ed is going to be working with us, so I get to do the shit with him all day, so that'll be fun. And then of course Kurt, and then my girlfriend's going to be there as well. So got a nice crew this time.
It's the fun part about going to Toy Hi-O. It's not just a toy show, and if you're part of the AIW family, it's like having an AIW show, but not an AIW show at the same time. Yeah,
like we always say that at least I've always said that the AIW shows and like the tailgates especially are like a family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
So Toy Hi-O is like the family reunion light.
I mean, that just goes to what I've been telling people about like going to independent shows, especially if you get to be part of the scene of like the people that are there. Because it's no longer just, I'm going to a wrestling show. It's, I'm going to hang out with my friends and watch wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm going to a show alone. Because I think I know people, if I would tell them like my situation of like, I got a lot of these AIW shows, just me, technically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I'm also going to go there and like hang out with a bunch of friends. And when I know when people like talk about, I don't know if I want to go to a show alone, blah, blah, blah. I want friends to go with. I'm like, I get that. Like my first handful of shows I ever went to, I came with friends. Actually, then it was my third show. The people that I was coming with bailed on me, even to the point of I got two people to fill in for them. They bailed on me because this was also like in the middle of December. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going alone. And then I think 2 shows later, I went to another show alone, which was my first girls' night out I went to. And after that, it was like, okay, I need to make friends here to like make it more than just coming to shows. And obviously that was fucking 10 years ago. And here we are now doing this shit. Like I love promoting like, hey, come to shows. Like we're not all bad. I think there are some like bad apples here and there in our crowd, but I love hearing stories about new fans coming in. I like telling people, hey, come to AIW.
We have a couple bad apples that make their way in every once in a while, but it doesn't take long for them to fade out.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's always amazes me is there's a lot of people that live in this area that still have no idea that AIW's here.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
Yep,
how many people do you think would have went to the last show if they knew Britt was going to be there? And I'm excluding any like AIW people, like fans, people that would have saw Britt on a flyer and said, I'm going.
No, they would have needed a bigger building. Yeah, John would have needed to book that for a bigger building if he's going to advertise Britt Baker.
Yeah. And there's people I know in the Akron area that like every time AIW comes down, I'm like, hey, come to the show. And I pushed this one a little harder, but I don't think anybody bit. But I kept saying like, you are not gonna want to miss this show. You're gonna want to be there. But
I was a little nervous for that one just because of the WWE show running in Canton the same night. So I mean, whenever I saw how many people were actually there, I was kind of surprised, but I was happy, man. It was a hell of a show.
And there were a handful of people that we know, or at least people AIW fans that I know that did pick the WWE show over the Akron show. But this is the way I look at Akron shows, and I feel like this is a really accurate assessment. Those shows are always special one way or another. The only one that was kind of a miss was the Doctor Is In. Other than that, like taking that show out of the equation, like there's been like something of like a value at those shows, whether it be like the Scott Hall meet and greet, the
Harley Race.
Yeah, Harley Race. And even the first one,
Steamboat.
I kept saying Dragon in my head, and I'm like, what goes with that? I kept going Ultimo, and I'm like, it's not fucking Ultimo Dragon, it's the other fucking dragon. But yeah, Ricky Steamboat, like that was fucking awesome. And then
they did that con there too. I mean, you had Orton, Kelly, Booker T,
Uncle Fred.
Uncle Fred, Joel Gertner.
Yeah, but even when like Cardona won the title, which I don't remember if there was a big guest on that show, but that was the big deal of like, you're gonna want to be there for it because you won't see that coming. So yeah, like come to the fucking Akron shows. They're fucking awesome. Like I don't care if WWE is running next door. Come to AIW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw this comment on it was after that show, AIW posted on the Facebook, and it was just like, what did you think of the show? And somebody commented, they said, I'd rather sit in the last row at an AIW show than front row at a WWE show. I was like, man, that is 100% accurate.
I think for the most part, I would agree with that. It would depend for WWE. It would depend on show and who was there. If it was like Kevin Owens in like a big title opportunity, and I'm not counting like a house show, I'm thinking like any show, and like Kevin Owens would be the one that was going to win. Yeah, I'd want to be front row for that one. But outside of like the few things that I could think of that make me want to be front row for those shows, I'd probably have to agree. Especially like with this in the equation of Akron shows, like they're pretty fucking awesome.
They are. Ed and I discussed before, because he said that he wasn't going to go to that last Akron show because he doesn't like the Akron crowd because they're always super quiet. And, I've said on this podcast multiple times that one of the things that I don't like about the Akron shows is I don't feel like I can yell fuck. But I think that crowd that whole entire night was phenomenal. I mean, they reacted to everything. We were talking about the gauntlet before we started recording. Just the pops and stuff that all the surprise guests got, all the surprise returns got. It was good. It was a good night all around.
Yeah, Gary the King Baller got like a pretty big pop.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if it's just like, and this is me like putting that together on the replay. I don't know if, the mic isn't necessarily picking up pops the best way. And that's not saying his, I'm talking about other pops like Brits and everything. But Gary had a pretty decent pop, and I was going back and rewatching that. I was really happy. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, me too. And then, it's always good to see the Fuckets come back.
Yeah, they're a team that, that they've done a lot in AIW, but however length of time they go away, they're missed.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they're here a while, like, I don't know if anybody's ever been like, oh, I'm tired of the Fuckets. There's other teams I've heard that for. Ironically, one of those teams isn't currently on the card as of this recording, but nonetheless, Fuckets are awesome.
Yes, they are. Which we get to talk about them in a minute. So
yep. We do have 3 meet and greets for the show. I'm doing none of them because not real big on Bandito, not real big on Jack Evans, and not real big on Kevin Sullivan. If I had a Kevin Sullivan WCW figure, I'd be inclined to. And I even, like, after they announced it, I kind of thought about it because I don't have any of those WCW figures. And I think that would look really cool on my wall with him signing it, but I was like, nah, I don't feel like this is one that I would regret, like, not doing. So, passing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a meet and greet guy anyway, so, I mean, even if I was going to be at the show, I wouldn't be doing any of them, I don't think. I don't know. I think it's cool Kevin Sullivan's coming in. I do want to know who the person that's going to ask him about Benoit is. So, if anybody hears about that, just shoot me a tweet and let me know who the person was that asked.
How drunk do we have to get Jobber before the show?
You know what? That might be like an 8 out of 10 drunk.
Good old TSJ Dark. Because I remember dealing with drunk Jobber after the last show and saying like random things to me. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, I was walking to my car and he was saying some super random stuff to me as well, and I just kept going, "Are you all right, man?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I need to find Pat." And then he walked away to go find Pat.
I think he was telling me like asking me like why I was mad, and I'm like, what are you talking about, man? But yeah, no meet and greets for me here. Also goes into like saving money thing where it's like, if they had somebody here, like if this was the Suzuki show, I'd be like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
But luckily, nobody here for me. Before we go any further, when we're going to get into talking about the matches, we're recording this Monday night. So this is before the AEW podcast comes out, and they've only announced 6 matches, which I will take a quick second to see if there's been any more, because Thorne likes to post them during Raw, or during wrestling, I should say. Not just Raw, but normally that's kind of a pattern, and nope. We only have the one that was announced earlier today, so odds are there's going to be more matches announced, and we won't be talking about them.
It's okay.
All right. Since the first match they announced is going to be the main event, we're just going to go in reverse order of how they were announced. So, we'll start with this one. Big Twan Tucker versus Jackson Stone versus Kaplan versus Filthy Tom Lawler. My first reaction to this, how many matches are Kaplan and Filthy Tom Lawler going to be in together?
I mean, hopefully a bunch more. I mean, seriously, I love those two together. And whenever I first saw this graphic, I never thought that I would feel bad for Tom Lawler in a match. But for some reason, seeing him matched up against all three of these guys, just like it kind of makes me feel bad for Tom a little bit. And this is a match that I'm super upset that I'm going to be missing live.
I would figure, would this be one of his last matches before heading off to Japan?
I mean, I would assume so.
Like, I'm not sure the G1 schedule because I'm not that deep into New Japan, but seeing that he was announced for it this past weekend, which I think is cool as fuck. But yeah, this is hopefully he comes out alive and in one piece, so he doesn't have to so that doesn't have to get canceled. But we are talking about Filthy Tom Lawler, the best current wrestler who is a former MMA fighter, better than any other right now. But that's just me. Yeah. The only other one that I can think of that I am like really even a fan of would be like Shayna Baszler. But I mean, even Tom's 100% better than I think Shayna is. But yeah, I'll give that to you. I meant to go. I thought I said it, but I know I thought it in my head. Male. Oh, okay. I do want to distinguish male. Okay, yeah, I agree with you then. Because I do love Shayna. I kind of miss Shayna. I was in some wrestling conversations this past weekend where I was like, I wish WWE would do more with her because she's a badass. And she could add so much to it, but it seems like it hasn't been priority for a number of years, so hey, whatever. Yeah. That's how they are with their women's division, though. But, anyways, we've got these 4 big, meaty men that are going to be slapping meat on Friday. Big Twan Tucker, first match back to AIW, not counting Gauntlet, which I know that's technically a match, but regular match. Mm-hmm. Fucking Jackson Stone, last time we seen him was at the Odeon, was the Suzuki show. Yeah, him and Dom. Mm-hmm. So that's something with this match. As of right now, there's not a Dom match announced. And then you got Casey Carrington and Brian Carson somewhere in the building, I'm guessing, too. No, I haven't been paying that much attention, but Carson got injured on the last show, didn't he? Is he all right? Do we know, have you seen anything? I haven't followed up on that. I do remember, obviously, he got hurt. I say obviously because where we were, we could tell something was going on, and then clearly see he was getting medical assistance afterwards. But I don't know. I'm really bad at paying attention to things. I'm halfway because it's I got a lot of shit going on right now, outside of AIW and everything. So it's sometimes I just miss shit on Twitter if anything was announced. But I thought he said he was good. And I'm not saying to all of his haters, he'll be back soon. Something like that. As in, I know I believe, I can't say it, I know, but I believed he confirmed he was all right to a point. Obviously, I don't think he's 100%, but it's nothing broken or something like that. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely still puts him into like potential of getting involved in this in some way if the whole Dom thing breaks out.
Which, if you were Casey Carrington and Brian Carson, would you want to get involved in this match?
No, not. This is one I would 100% stay away from.
Because not only do you have Filthy Tom Lawler, who we've already mentioned of how dangerous he is, you also have Kaplan, who gives no fucks, and you got Big Twan Tucker. Yeah, if one of them doesn't fuck you up, and two of them doesn't fuck you, all three together are gonna somebody's gonna fuck somebody up. Like it's happening.
Yep. Yeah. If I was Carrington and Carson, I'd stay far away from this match.
Who you got in this one?
You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Filthy Tom, and he's gonna ride that momentum to Japan.
I'm gonna go Kaplan. I will say.
See, I always want to go Kaplan, and I felt like I needed to go a little different with that one.
For some reason with Kaplan, he's sticking out the most to me right now. I think Filthy is the easy pick. It's not, and it's definitely not wrong, but we're talking Kaplan. Can never count him out. Yeah, this is going to be a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to the next match. Next up, we have the Jollyville Fuckets versus the Main Event versus Bulking Season versus Members Only. And you know what? We failed to mention, I feel like I've done this before on these shows, with this being what we call the rap show. Obviously the rap show because all these shows are named after some sort of rap song or an album, maybe a movie, but definitely songs. All the rules are held, or all the matches are held under Compton rules, which I believe means there's no rules. So
that's what I love about these shows.
So Casey Carrington and Brian Carson could interject themselves legally.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't fucking think about it. But anyway, back to the tag match. And if I'm correct, it's not on the graphic, but I was with the post that the winner of this match, the winning team, they are the number one contenders for the AIW Tag Team Championships at Absolution.
Yeah, I'm looking at the post on the page right now. Yeah, winners get a title shot at Absolution. So that you finally have the Fuckets back, right? After being away for so long, Fuckets finally come back at the Gauntlet. Big win over the Bitcoin boys. I'm a little sad. Love you guys. But so you finally have them back, and then you're going to put them in this match with Bulking Season, who has been on a run, Members Only, who've been doing very well, had the title shot, didn't come away with it. Could be redemption for them here. You got the Main Event, who we all love. They've been a little up and down. This is kind of a tough one, man, because everything inside of me says that. Which, I mean, I know we're not doing picks right now, or doing picks yet, but it's like everything inside of me would say that the Fuckets win this, but like I don't know. The Bulking Season has been on such a roll lately that it's like almost hard to not pick them to win this too.
Here's how I look at this. You have Bulking Season, who was really close to beating PME. You have Members Only, who was really close to beating PME. You have the Main Event, which was really close to beating PME. And I don't know if the Fuckets have ever gone against PME, but obviously with them coming back, they don't fit the trend of the whole match, but those three are heavy considerations for my pick. Just because all three of these teams were so close to where...
And correct me if I'm wrong, but all those losses were, or all of those PME wins were dirty, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
So one of these three teams have the potential to right that wrong. Learn from the mistakes that were in that match. I would be happy with any of those three winning, but I have one as my favorite. We won't necessarily get into picks right now, but even if my one pick is wrong. If it's at least one of the other two teams, that still leads to a good Absolution match. And even if I'm wrong completely in saying that, like, these three teams who were close are my favorites, and I'm counting out the fuckets, and I should never count out the fuckets, but I would still be happy to see the fuckets step back to Absolution and win.
Yeah. So the only time that I can think of like matches with the fuckets and PME is going back to Mania weekend in Jersey. They were doing that whole, they did the four-way tag. That's the only time that I can like really think of the fuckets and PME being paired up together. It's always been in multi-tag matches. So that almost makes it a little bit more intriguing for me. For an Absolution match then too, it would be, PME and the fuckets, just kind of, I don't know, it's an interesting one. But I mean, really, I'm looking at this graphic, and you put that as an Absolution match, any of these teams against PME, you're going to have a good match. Like, I don't think I'd be disappointed with any of these.
Trying to look real quick and see if I can find if there has been a one-on-one match, and I don't think we've seen it, but yeah, they've been in multiple multi-team matches with PME.
Mm-hmm. So that was kind of we were getting a lot of those like four-way tag matches in like 2018.
Mm-hmm. Which their first encounter was early in 2018, four-way match, and it was PME winning, beating the Fuckets, the Young Studs, and To Infinity and Beyond. And then I'm going to go through so many results and like quickly read. I don't think they went against each other again until 2019, which 2019 they had multiple ones. PME also defeated Duke Money, the Fuckets, and the Production at 7 Year Itch. They both lost at the match you were talking about, To Infinity and Beyond defeating the Fuckets, PME, and the Production. And then the last AIW match that they were in, which I had forgot about, because I thought their last match was at AIW was Keep Their Heads Ringing. No, it was the final four-way match at the Chandler Biggins Memorial Tag Team Tournament, PME defeating To Infinity and Beyond, the Fuckets, and the Production. And that version of the Production, unlike the previous two that I mentioned, the previous two were Derek and Eddie. This time it was Danhausen and Derek.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I guess that means Fuckets have never beat PME.
Yeah. Kind of opens the whole story up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Some long-term booking right there, John Thorne.
So, who do you got?
Ah, man, why you got to make me do this? I'm going to give the win for this one to Bulking Season.
I like Bulking Season.
I want to see the Fuckets. All right, let me make that very clear. But I think I'm giving the win to Bulking Season.
I would like to go Bulking Season, but I'm going the main event.
I mean, that's a great pick too.
I think
really there's not a bad one.
Mm-hmm. I think they were my top pick for debut of the year for last year, because just the debut alone blew me away, because I had heard that they were potentially going to come to AIW before that show, but I don't know what happened. So them finally coming out and joining AIW was amazing.
I think the pandemic happened, and that's why everything got pushed back for them.
Mm-hmm. But they fit.
They do.
The thing that I've said about them recently, about like they look like a tag team, act like a tag team, and dress like a tag team, and you could plug them into any major wrestling promotion in the world and show it to a non-wrestling fan, because most wrestling fans would know that they weren't there before, but it'd be like, what's off about this picture? And they probably wouldn't be able to say like, oh, they're not a part of that promotion, because they belong. So
I agree.
I'm going the main event. And I feel like they were one of the first tag teams too to get screwed over by PME after they had won the championship. Because obviously after that, you do have Rip City.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's move on to the next one. Third time's a charm. Or fourth if you don't count Gauntlet. I mean, if you count Gauntlet. Katie Arquette versus Jocelyn Navarro. This is our first women's feud in AIW in a long time.
Mm-hmm. It feels kind of good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
It's a little refreshing.
And also, like, both Jocelyn and Katie, I feel like I've said it every time I've previewed one of their matches. It's like, you know, these are two women that have really been fighting for that spot over the past, like, 5 years total. And now they're both in AIW. Jocelyn's been around a little bit longer, and, like, the transformation she's been able to do in the ring, I don't want to say character, because, like, Jocelyn's Jocelyn, but, like, the presentation of her is so much better than previous. I don't know what to expect with this match.
Especially since this whole entire show doesn't have any rules.
Exactly. So in my head, I'm wondering, does Katie have something up her sleeve? Is she going to pull something in this match that, like, no one's expecting? Is she going to come with backup, or is she going to just, like I said, when I say something have something up her sleeve, I also mean, because it's Compton rules, like, bringing some shit in that fucking code of hers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Jocelyn's a fighter, but part of me just doesn't trust Katie.
Yeah, you know, the last time that they had a singles match, was that the one? That one, it was at Akron, right?
No,
their second match was Akron.
First match was at Akron. Second match was at the Winchester.
Okay, they beat the fuck out of each other,
and
it was so much fun to watch. So now, just adding the element of, you know, anything goes. Just, I don't know. I think this one, and I don't feel like I would normally say this for a women's match, and that's no slight to women's wrestling or anything. But, like, this one, I think really has the potential to steal the show and, like, be kind of a surprise for everybody.
Yeah, I think both of these women have something to prove.
Yeah,
and we've seen Jocelyn have so many, you know, high profile matches in AIW over the past little over a year. Here she is in a feud with somebody, not just like a one-off match. Like, there's something here with these two, and yeah, they're going to beat the fuck out of each other. But I'm wondering, is there any way to get this match to absolution with some sort of stipulation or some other twist to it? But, like, with this being Compton rules, it's like, where the fuck do you go from here? This almost has to be it for it, right?
Yeah, and they're even, you know, at 1-1, so it's almost like, because, I mean, you can't have a disqualification in this, so it's not like you can have a fourth one that would still, like, break the tie. Yeah, I feel like this has to be the blow off. I don't know how you would end it and still carry it to absolution, honestly.
This is what I want to see. I want to see Jocelyn win, and I want to see Jocelyn pull a trick out of Isaiah Broner's book and call out somebody for absolution and just walk away.
Call out Shayna Baszler for the AIW Women's Championship.
I was going to go with someone else who just popped back up on the independent scene, and Jocelyn's called out. Yeah, I was about to say Jocelyn's called her out. Fucking Isaiah's called her out for Jocelyn. Like, next step.
Yep, I saw it.
Yeah, next step is Jocelyn just coming out and saying it like Mia Yim. Like, say you're the baddest bitch. Come back to AIW and I'll show you.
Yep.
The dream is Shayna. The thing that I loved after Britt came back and that video circulated is that, like, Candace commented on it or something, or women, or was it Shayna commented first? Either or. The fact that, like,
I saw the Shayna comment.
Yeah, maybe it was Candace commented on Shayna's, but nonetheless, it was just like seeing, like, Shayna still having that love for AIW and just being like, yeah, I'm still the champion. Like, God, Vince, like, pay her a lot of money, make her champion, or, like, I don't want to say let her go, because that sounds mean, but it's not like she would have trouble getting money outside of WWE.
Not at all. She's too good.
I'll make this prediction about Shayna. Not necessarily like her coming back at a particular time, but if she ever gets released by WWE and she comes back, and I would say that's something you do as like a surprise, she will have one of the biggest pops in AIW history. And I'm going to put that on par with Britt recently and Nick Gage at Absolution.
And that Nick Gage return was that was something.
I have a save video of it on my phone because you can see me going crazy in the front row because it's what I wanted to happen, and it fucking happened.
I think I was getting ready to walk out. I was on my way out the door, and then I heard his music, and I turned around.
You see a lot of people heading for the door, especially because Donst won. I'm like, oh, yep. Great. Don's still champion. All right. But if Shayna comes back, if we get to that point, and it's done the same way, and I could see her too, like, she would come out in her dressed up look with the title. That'd be great.
Yeah, I agree.
So, who you got with Jocelyn and Katie?
I mean, I feel like it's almost stupid to not pick Jocelyn, so that's where I'm going.
Yeah, this is Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, and we always pick Jocelyn. Because
no brainer.
Because she is the officially sponsored athlete that I still need to get shirts made for her, but kind of have a plan for that. I feel like that's a summer shirt, and we're into summer. Right? Well, next week I think is the official start of summer, but I kind of got an idea, so I got to get the ball rolling on that. But I already got the shirt design. It's just some of the other details behind it. But anyway, yeah.
Yep.
Pick a Jocelyn. Sorry, Katie.
Since you don't have a merch store anywhere anymore, so.
Well, even if I did still have that merch store, I wouldn't give it that business to them. Not even just because how much they were annoying me at the end. I want screen printed quality. I want to go somewhere local and be able to pick it up and not have to go through just because what I'm debating on doing beside it too is actually getting official screen printed wrestling chair shirts done. Because the old company I have the shirt and hoodie, and yeah, they're still like the designs are still intact, but it's still like not as clean and as nice as like screen printed, towards like that decently thick ink that's like sitting on the fabric.
Right. Yeah, I need to get some stuff printed up for Smoking Jays still. I don't know. I'm taking forever to actually get it done.
Well, you're not the only one. All right, let's move on to the next one. 6-way scramble. Mikey Montgomery versus Uncle Chase Burnett versus Jack Evans versus M-Dog Matt Cross versus Bandito versus Chase Oliver. Well, we got two of our special guests in this match. No pressure, Chase Oliver as well. The Cleveland legend, M-Dog, and Ed from Pod Van Dam's favorite wrestler, Mikey Montgomery.
And also Smoking Jay's sponsored athlete, Mikey Montgomery.
Correct.
Yeah, you can't forget about that part.
Well, I was leaving it for you to say it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you.
And you're going to get to have that plug 2 matches in a row, so...
That's another thing that I need to work on is getting a design for Smoking Jays and Bitcoin Boys. So, yeah, I need to hit up Moy.
I think he does such great work, even to the point of, which I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show, but like I'm the vice president for the Kent Browns backers, and we had been talking for a couple of years about getting a new logo made, because we have like one that is just like one of the Browns logos, and it's just, we're allowed to use it and everything, but like we wanted something that was official. And then there was also like some things that we had on one of our designs, I should say, that we had on the back of a lot of our stuff that was actually not approved by the Browns. So we were like, oh, we got to do like we want to do a whole new logo and everything. Everybody was just dragging their fucking feet because they were like, oh, I know somebody, blah, blah, blah. I can do blah, blah, blah. I can talk to somebody. I finally said, fuck it. And I hit up my boy. I'm like, dude, this is what I got in mind. I need a couple options to present to everybody else on the board and to send to the Browns. And he hooked us up. I mean, I paid for it, but like gave me everything that I wanted option wise, sent them all to the Browns. And One of them was 100% fine with them. That's what we picked. And I've gotten so many compliments, like, of how awesome the logo looks. And that's thanks to fucking Moy Boy. So
yeah, everybody always talks about how much they love my designs for Smoking Jays, and he's done all of them. Like my original logo, the campfire logo, the wrestling's favorite barbecue, and then I had him redo the original logo, like with some changes to make it like a neon sign. And every single thing that he's sent to me has turned out amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right, six scramble match. This is one of those that's like really hard to talk about. Openly admit, like I said, I'm not as familiar with Bandito and Jack Evans. I'm happy to see Uncle Chase back. Love that dude. M-Dog's M-Dog, and that's not an insult. Like, I love M-Dog to the point of just seeing like a little video of him on Twitter today. I was like, fuck, I need to throw in my old M-Dog J-Pro DVD that I love so much, because it's been a number of years, so I need to sit down and rewatch it and enjoy the shit out of their backyard days and their early Cleveland days and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you got Mikey and Chase. With Chase, awesome dude, which I think I mentioned on the review that you can go buy an 8x10 that is a picture that I took, and he asked permission for it, and the only payment I asked for was like, oh, just give me one. We're good. And he does give credit to Wrestling Cheers, so like, if you're at the show, go buy one. If you don't buy that one, buy another one. I do believe our friend White Oprah, I think one of her pictures was used too for another 8x10, so pick up that one. Or one of those shirts that say no pressure. Mikey, the thing that I love about the Bitcoin Boys, besides being sponsored by Smoking Jay's Barbecue, is that what we've seen from the Bitcoin Boys, like over the last year plus, let's say, especially with Go for Broke, where they can work really well as a tag team, but they can really still shine in one-on-one matches with other people. To where it's not like you're just looking like, oh, this is just one of the Bitcoin Boys in this match. Like, no, this is fucking Mikey, and Mikey has his own side, and is still fun to watch if it's just him.
Yeah, I think Mikey and Eric, respectively, both have their own strengths. So whenever they come together as a tag team, they're able to play off of each other's strengths so well. And that's what makes them such a great tag team, is that they're already good as singles competitors. So I 100% agree with you on that. I think with the class, Mikey, Eric, and the guys from Balking Season, I think for a lot of us, Mikey was the one that kind of stood out. And then a lot of it was because of the way that he interacted with everybody whenever he was still a student, just doing ring crew and stuff, Mikey was the one that I think everybody kind of pulled for a little bit more, almost, if that makes sense. So seeing him in a singles, with a singles opportunity, that always makes me real happy too. I love the Bitcoin Boys together, but I do enjoy seeing them, both of them in the singles aspect as well. And then I think Mikey just kind of fits perfect in this match because he's a little bit more of a flyer. So having him with Jack Evans and Bandito and Chase Oliver and Matt Cross kind of lends to his strengths a little bit more.
Not everybody was pulling for Mikey Moore. I was pulling for the dude that walked out in his debut match in a cheeseburger singlet. Because I was like, this guy gets me. He is awesome.
I understand.
And then he comes out of Rager with a Whopper and a barbed wire. One of the underrated best small moments in AIW history.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
I mean, do I have to ask who you're picking on this one?
Yeah, you might have to, because as much as I want to pick Mikey, because I love Mikey, Chase is kind of turning into the scramble god. So I'm gonna pick Chase for it.
Yeah, that's who I'm picking too. If it's not Chase, which I mean Chase is gonna be my pick, I would go M-Dog.
Yeah, Yeah, M Dog is like the first independent wrestler that I remember seeing. So, my heart wants to pick Matt Cross, but yeah, I gotta go with Chase for it.
All right, let's move on to the next match. Wes Barkley versus Eric Taylor. Not much, storyline going on here. I mean, you got Eric Taylor, one half of the Bitcoin Boys, who are
Smoking J sponsored athletes.
And then you got Wes Barkley, one half of the Rip City Shooters. In a way, this is, obviously like half of two tag teams in a match against each other. I was going to say, I think they might have had a match at Go for Broke, but they probably didn't.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah, Eric is like Mikey of what I said earlier, a guy who has his own personality and he can let it shine in these matches. Yeah, this is
definitely.
This is one I don't have a lot to say for, but I'm really looking forward to this match.
I think it's definitely going to be a good match. Wes is a guy that sitting here now, I'm kind of surprised that I like, because I hated him for so long. After he debuted, just was not a fan, and then even way before the flip, I don't know, he just kind of started to grow on me. And coming out of the pandemic, he's one of the guys that I feel like I saw the most growth in. And he did give me a B+ for my brisket, so can't hate him.
It's crazy to think that at one point a lot of AIW fans hated the Bishop Brigade, and then 1 year after that a lot of AIW fans hated the Barkley Nation. And now you put those two in the ring together, and actually for a while now, but still, they are one of the most beloved tag teams in AIW.
Yeah, they are. It's kind of crazy.
The thing that always made me laugh was like the Bishop Brigade being hated, but they were like nowhere near the level that the Barkley Nation got. Like the Barkley Nation took it to a whole nother level and then some. You look back at the Bishop Brigade and you're like, yeah, they weren't that bad. It's like a lot of people coming out in favor, but here we have, like drunk frat boys kind of being obnoxious at shows. And now we're all part of the Bishop Brigade and Barkley Nation.
Yeah. I think that the thing that for a lot of people said, had made them not like Wes was definitely the fans, but what made the Barkley Nation worse than the Bishop Brigade was the Bishop Brigade never threw a bunch of beer on the other fans that were sitting around them. So that was, I think, the issue, what left a bad taste in people's mouth for Wes Barkley.
Yeah, because I think with the Bishop Brigade, there was a family element there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what, most of the Bishop Brigade was his family coming out. There's a lot more in that coming out from Wes Barkley.
Right. He's definitely grown on me a lot, though. I'm big Wes Barkley fan now.
I'll say this, too. Two of the best promos in AIW, and I'm not talking just like the ability to talk, but like when they put out a promo on social media, like these two are the best. I feel like Eric doesn't do it enough, like enough as he should, but both of them actually, I feel like they take the Magnum CK school of promos where don't cut like the same promo. Don't do it in the same place you do every other promo. Which great. I mean, with Eric, like maybe the hot tub is like being the same place, but it's not like in the bathroom or in the living room, like something where it's just like this dull surrounding. The fact that he has done so many in a hot tub, drinking milk, eating olives, it's like, oh,
it's his thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's different. And then Wes Barkley does like a whole bunch of different shit, even throwing out like a 15-second one or 20-second one that I know is short one this week. But I'm like, ooh, you did what needs to be done. It was catchy, eye-catching, I should say, and good.
Well, and going into a match that doesn't really have any story before, Now there kind of is because, Wes Barkley was sending somebody to smash up Eric's car and they got the wrong one. Now there's a little bit of a story.
Who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna take Eric Taylor with a little bit of help from the Duke.
Oh, that's the thing with this match and the previous one I'm expecting the Duke to be out for both.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I could see the Duke making an impact on this one. So I'll go Eric Taylor as well.
Good choice.
All right, let's move on to our main event. And the only other match we have announced as of this recording.
Oh, wait. Hey, you skipped over Isaiah Broner and Manders.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Because for some reason, I did not put that in the Facebook page that I normally do.
Way to go, Summers. You're slacking.
I said earlier, I got a lot of shit going on. Anyway, Isaiah Broner versus Manders before we get into the main event. So we have 7 matches. Fuck. This is one of those things with Broner that he's had so many big matches already in the IW, and we're still under a year. And this is like the next, I don't want to say next big opponent, because no offense, Manders, I mean, I love you, but I'm not putting you on the same level as Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki. Like, come on, man. But having the interaction that they did at Gauntlet lets you know, like, oh, this is going to be a fucking war. And like, if we don't get more than one match out of this in the next 6 months, it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the thing to get excited about for this match is that these two are just going to be hitting each other very hard. Like, this is a match that I don't think needs any type of, weapons. And you don't need doors, you don't need chairs. You just have two guys that hit hard that are just going to beat the fuck out of each other. And that's the thing that makes this match so interesting for me.
I think it has the possibility of being on par with Broner versus Kingston, of like brutality wise.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they will definitely beat the piss out of each other and then some. And then with Manders too, like prior to Gauntlet, we haven't seen him since the return show, since Hello Cleveland, when he was the first dude to come out.
Has it been that long?
I'm, without even looking it up, I'm fairly sure, because there was a lot of people on that show, at least
that haven't been back.
Yeah, haven't been back since. So, because I remember when he came out, it was like, all right, we're setting the pace. It's him versus who, and then out comes Tim Donst.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're almost to a year of no Donst. End of next month, it'll be a year.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to return at the Gauntlet.
Oh,
and the only reason why I thought that is because where I was standing, I could like kind of see boots under the curtain, and I thought I saw somebody with duct tape on their boots.
I thought about it before the show, but I failed to mention it on the preview because I think it hit me afterwards. I'm like, ooh, like this would be a great place for Donst to come back, even if it's just like a one-off, or maybe he has a match at Absolution afterwards. But yeah, it's been a while for him.
Yeah, I feel like the rap show always plays really well into Donst also.
But Manders and Broner, it's gonna be a good one. I think when everything's said and done for 2022, Broner is going to be a candidate for AIW Wrestler of the Year. I don't know if he'll win, because I got to figure, at least at this point, you're probably going to have Bishop up there. Might even have Cardona, but definitely Bishop. So then it's like, who you picking, Bishop versus Broner? And that comes down to the voter. But there's no reason why he shouldn't be on that ballot. And the way I do the ballot is I ask for nominations, and then I take the top 4 nominations. So
Broner's the one that's getting all those, the big matches right now. So I think that definitely plays into him being Wrestler of the Year for AIW.
Big matches, but no titles yet.
Not yet.
Yes. Broner versus Manders. Who do you got?
Oh, this is Wrestling Cheers, where we pick Isaiah Broner.
Yeah, we normally pick Isaiah Broner, but I think I did openly pick Minoru Suzuki and Eddie Kingston.
I'm pretty sure you did.
But this won't be one of those times. Yeah, I'm picking my boy Broner.
You got to.
All right, now on to the main event and the only other match that's announced as of this recording. I love these matches, but unfortunately we're only getting one of them and not two like we should. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that.
Joshua Bishop in a pick your poison match versus Matt Cardona's pick. So the question before we get into who wins, who the fuck's the pick? Because I'll say this, because with this being the first match that was announced, I was like, do you know who I'd really like it to be? Broner. But Broner now has a match. So we at least have a list to go off of people who aren't booked on this show that are normally on AIW. But then there's also the surprises. This could be, not saying it is, or who I think it's going to be, like, it could be Brian Myers. But we've already seen that match, so I definitely don't think it's that one.
Yeah. Yep.
It could be Heath. God, would I love that one. But I don't know if it's going to be Heath. After that, I kind of struggle. There's names that I have in mind, but I don't know how confident I am on them. Where are you looking at right now?
So it's been really hard for me to really think of anybody that makes sense. You have, Derek is not booked, Dom isn't booked, but out of those two, it's kind of like, all right, well, I can see Derek possibly, especially with the way that the gauntlet ended. This being no roles, Derek and Josh be a great match. I feel like right now Derek is kind of like my top pick for who it could be.
I really hope they don't announce a Derek match tomorrow.
Yeah, they probably will. Watch, it's going to be like Derek versus Danny Doring that gets announced tomorrow.
I did have one idea in mind, and I feel like it's a match we haven't seen, and a match I would kind of like to see. And it would make sense that would be who Cardona picks, because that's also the thing I think of. You're Cardona. Who are you picking? I think there's a good possibility he could pick EC3. Can you imagine EC3 and Josh Bishop face to face in the middle of the Odeon?
No, I don't really want to imagine it.
Listen, it's not wanting to imagine it, but trying to figure what could potentially happen. And EC3 kind of makes sense.
What could potentially happen is Josh Bishop could control his narrative. I don't know if that's one that I would really. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I just don't know if that's one that I would want. I'm selfish, it's all about me.
Sometimes when I pick, it's not necessarily about who I want. I just try to think what could happen, and I think EC3 makes sense. It's one of the things I'm not super confident on, but visually in my head, Bishop and EC3 would look really cool.
It would, yeah.
And you could.
I think that seeing Josh with somebody like EC3 just puts it into people's mind even more that Josh should be under a contract somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He matches up with those guys so well.
And then you also kind of have a old school AIW versus new school AIW. Cleveland versus Akron Canton. There's some stories that could be played with on commentary. Obviously nothing be talked about in the match among fans, but there's an element there, but it's still something I'm not confident on. I think this is going to be a surprising pick. With this being the main event, it's not just a random pick your poison match. So it's kind of why I don't think it would be Derek.
Well, you got to think too, got Toy Hio on Saturday. Could be Ethan Page, could be Killer Cross. I don't know. Why not have those guys as a surprise?
I'm not sure with Ethan Page, only because I don't know if AEW talent's allowed to work shows on Friday, even if Rampage is taped ahead of time, or whether they're even on the show. There might be a thing of no Friday bookings. I could be wrong, but that's kind of my guess on the matter. But Killer Cross isn't an AEW wrestler. Ooh, I think that one was interesting. Because really, if you would consider the Toy Hio guests as being possibilities, the first thing you do is take out all the AEW wrestlers. Well, that's most of them. And literally you're left with fucking Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, and Sandow.
And Charlie Haas.
Oh, Charlie Haas. I was going off of the one flyer. So Charlie Haas isn't on that flyer, but I don't think it's Charlie Haas, but fucking Killer Kross. That would be a good one.
Could be. Yeah.
And Ed won't be at the show, so he'll be really upset.
Oh no, he is going to be there now.
Okay, he's going to be there now. Okay.
Yeah.
He changes his mind all the time.
Well, he didn't have somebody to watch Pup Van Dam, but I think he got somebody to watch the dog now.
The dog's older now, so shouldn't it be Pod Van Dog?
I don't know.
Or we
I still like Pup Van Dam.
I like the idea that someone threw out, like, as a puppy, he'll be Pup Van Dam, but when he gets older, he's Pod Van Dog.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Pup Van Dam is just the thing that's sticking, and no one wants to move off that.
I mean, he also has the coolest fucking name in the world, too. Doyle is such a cool name.
I named my dog Zool. I stick by it.
Yeah. You got a good one, too.
This is like a hard one to pick, just because we don't know who is Josh's opponent, but I don't know why I would think that Bishop is walking away with a loss before heading into Absolution, which, whether it'll happen this week at this show, at Absolution, between Absolution, whatever of what's going on with Bishop at Absolution, who's his opponent, what's going on with the titles. That is something that Thorne's been very quiet on, so we'll see how shit goes. So I'm picking Bishop.
Yeah, it's always thumbs up for Bishop for me.
So it's 2 thumbs up for Bishop.
Yes, sir. Or 4.
Yeah. I was saying like 2 of us, but yeah.
Yeah, but I got 2 thumbs.
So yeah, that's it. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go?
Same shit as always, man. Smoking_Jays BBQ on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/SmokingJays Catering. Saturday I'm at Toy Ohio. And again, we are set up at a different area than what we normally are at Toy Ohio. But your special guests are Danhausen, the acclaimed Ethan Page, Damian Sandow, Smart Mark Sterling, Charlie Haas, Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, whatever, and Scarlet Bordeaux. Early bird gets in at 10, and then the general admission gets in at 11. It runs until 4 o'clock. It's $5 to get in. Come hang out, buy some cool stuff, and say hi to me. That's all I got. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Before I get into the normal closing plugs, something that I alluded to last week was kind of spilt on the AIW podcast. I won't go into full details, but yes, Wrestling Cheers is going to have a live podcast at the Geek Fest. I have an idea in mind of what I want to do. I also have a backup option. I will say the backup option is an interview, but my main option is something that I have never done here on the podcast. It's an episode format that I've had in mind for literally years, but have yet to pull the trigger on it. And because it's going to be a live podcast, I get to expand it a little bit. I just got to find out who all is going to be there, and we'll go from there. I was presented with this opportunity, and I don't like saying no to certain opportunities. So yeah, so it'll be us at Odds with Wrestling, Pod Van Dam, and then obviously the card is going to change. I don't know schedule. I don't know, like, are we all going to be at once, or is it going to be like one area and we just like alternate between shows in a lineup type thing, or what? But I did realize, great, if my episode becomes an actual episode and Pod Van Dam's episode becomes a real episode, I have to edit 2 of these motherfuckers. Great. But I probably shouldn't say it here, but I'm going to say it anyway. My goal is for that episode to be episode 300. If you do the math, I'm short a couple weeks. So I need to try to do some bonus episodes. So that's kind of my commitment between now and then. So like the next month and a half. So yeah, of course you can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Much you can find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/Wrestling Cheers, Twitter.com/Wrestling Cheers, and Instagram.com/Wrestling Cheers. Email, if you so choose, a desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. And we no longer have a merch store anywhere. Like I said earlier in the show, please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Check out our friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, The Spanish Announce Table. Check out our other podcast friends, such as Pod Van Dam, Super Fantastic Podcast, It's Evolution Baby, The IndieCast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, GameWorks Podcast, Powerbomb Jitsu, The Spotlight Series, Fully Posable, Doing the Favor, Positively Pro Wrestling, IWTV Guide, If You Catch My Grift, At Odds with Wrestling, Marks with Mikes, X Over Podcast, This Ends at Prom, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as Thrift Store Jobber, The Savage Dash, The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Heart of Gold, Toy Toy Show, Time Capsule Toys, Stay Tough, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, and remember you can use promo code CHEERS for a discount on your order. JCP Designs, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're Ice Cube. Later.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers. And then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.